I don't even have music ready. What am I doing, bro? Here, stand by, stand by. Stand by! Don't freak out! Don't, it's gonna be okay. We don't have music right now. It's gonna be okay. There we go. There we go. There we go. We're so good. We're so back. A lore stream. I forgot those even existed. I forgot that was a thing I can do. Is a lore stream. That's crazy. That's crazy. I haven't set anything up yet, by the way. The intern's kind of like... The intern didn't do anything. Well, I guess he's doing the stream announcement now, but he didn't set anything up. I'm a little annoyed. Hello, Flavie. Hello, Regoing. DJ Silva. How is everyone doing? I'm just setting up some stuff real quick. Last lore stream was 4 months ago. Yeah. Wasn't it that stream I talked about I might be doing the roleplay server soon. Good times, good times. Streaming booth. Merp. Hi. You're sick? Who made you sick? I'll kill them. I'll do it. Just tell me. I'll say the word. Hey, we're not on the simple PNG this time, because usually the Halo stream I have the other PNG on. I have this one on, but we're going full res today. We're going full res today. You doing good? I think we're doing good. Hey, Sora. I'm loading up the Monsan map. I think that's what we're gonna do. We're doing Monsan lore. We're gonna do a Monsan lore, and you guys can go ahead and ask any lore you want, and I'll answer to the best of my ability. So that can really mean anything. I just wanted to chill. We turn on ray tracing for this one. Let's go. Let's do. All right, I gotta move me. Stand by. Stand by. Stand by. That's not what I wanted. Here. Try it. It's the Monsan map. Hey, Silvera, my beloved. Yeah, about Silvera. Oh, tell us about the chess match. Oh, I'm pretty sure that'll be against Toss. We're not gonna do that one. I think we're good. I think we're good on that one. Show me Silvera. About Silvera. Flavia, I don't know what to tell you. Alright, go ahead and start putting in your questions for the Lord. We're just vibing today. We're not doing anything much harder than this. This is all you're getting. This is the extent of what you get. So, here, let me... I'm gonna put this stand up. Again, the drawing tablet. I forgot how much complicated this is since I last done this. So, okay, so, nothing good. So, Silvera was a nation that controlled lands. Here, I'll make it silver. that controlled lands around Planora, Fidus, and Serva. This was the Silvera territory. Just loosely. They're dead. They died. Consul Lexius, with Clan Cello and the nation Devoda, invaded Silvera. They launched a surprise invasion over the wall and over the Divinus River. And it was such speed and ferocity that it only took them like 3 days to collapse the entire kingdom, because Silvera still had serfdom, right? And that was a big thing happening. So there was a serf uprising in Serva and Fidus. And so Silvera was kind of cooked. Silvera like had legions here and in north of Fidus, but it kind of didn't go well. They got got. They got got. It was Jover. They are alive in my heart. I'm not tolerate Silvera. Well, they're dead, Flabby. They're dead. I don't know what to tell you. By the way, it's been a while since I talked about Planora in general, or Place in general. So, biggest thing you might notice is, here, let me load up, here was Planora a while ago, right? This is what Planora used to look like. Or Plaesta, sorry. Plaesta was a united nation. And more importantly, they didn't have trees. One moment, chat. I lost you. The display turned off. Is chat gone? We lose chat? Welcome back, chat. I will make Silvera too, just you wait. So this is what Planora used to look like. And so what happened was there was an incident. Here, I'm gonna change the music. This music is not fitting the vibe for what's about to happen. So, Plaesta had serfs, and they had 4 main provinces: New Ontario, the Planoran province, the Maltona province, and the Estera province. Those were the main big 4 provinces that made up Plaesta. Now, if you remember from the Timber Wars, Ontario was defeated and Maltona was destroyed. So the 2 most powerful provinces is Estera and Plaesta. They controlled everything. What happened, though, was there was a Tempesic schism. If you don't know what a schism is, it's basically when a religion collapses. The Tempesics are around here. Fun fact, that's where Exilium was going to originally be. I changed it. Anyways, there was a schism with the Tempesics. Clan Cello split off from the rest of the clans, led by Zuri Cello. Zuri Cello was he was the leader of Clan Cello, and he led an uprising after being forced into, basically the rest of the council was forcing him to either put himself into exile, or to either step down as clan leader and retire, or they're going to force him into exile. He lashed out, but the rebellion failed. He failed to take full control of the Tempesics, because not all of Clan Cello turned on the Tempest. It wasn't a unanimous decision. So Oxo goes all the way to here. I mean, this is more accurately their path. Oxo travels along the Kuon, around the ocean to Bastion Point, and from there made his way over here. That was Oxo's long exile. Or Zuri. fun fact. So, Zuri himself never made it that far. That's where Clan Cello went. Oxel was Zuri's former foundling, and Oxel actually took control of Clan Cello after the failed rebellion. Zuri went off north to where he eventually went to Exilium. Oxel made his way all the way over here and found succor with a local lord in this castle. Basically, this local lord was like, hey, I now have a mercenary army with me. This is Poggers. So, Oxel, now in charge, orchestrated a plan with Silvera against this lord's knowing. Oxel teamed up with Silvera, which is well, not a minor house, but a large house within the Planora region, under the place and control. They planned together to launch a coup. So during a council meeting within the capital city of Planora, which is this city here, I know it says place, but it's like, that's just the name of the nation. In the capital city of Planora, or the capital place, together they launched an attack on a council meeting between all the nobles and destroyed the noble rule. And at the same time, there was a serf uprising across Maltona. Maltona had a serf uprising. And so it kind of split up into this area. By the way, the trees are not back yet. The trees is a separate story. So we had Devoda. This is basically Devoda. Silvera controlled everything along here. I think it was yeah. No. I know, my lord. Trust. Yes. Everything around there was controlled by Silvera. What they didn't bet on is they originally Silvera wanted to control all this area. What instead happened was these other areas sort of split off. The entire United Place, the Empire, essentially, broke off. New Ontario was formed. You had New Ontario, and then you also had the nation of Estera. It really is such a mood. And so this is the situation. Devoda stopped any more offenses. They were kind of doing with their own stuff. Estera freed their serfs. And Planora tried to launch an attack into New Ontario. New Ontario themselves managed to push them into a stalemate. At the same time, Estera launched a raid on Serva. The city is Serva. While also sending a legion to go help New Ontario. At this point, New Ontario basically was able to push... New Ontario basically forced them into a stalemate. So they were stuck along this line. There is not much movement. And then Silvera also managed to push out Estera from the border region here. So they're at a stalemate here. What they really wanted, Silvera wanted Devoda to get involved to help make a breakthrough. Instead, what happened, however, was Devoda, at this time, so quick recap on Devoda. Zuri led Clan Cello. He was then, after failing the rebellion in Tepesix, he was taken out and replaced it by Oxel, who now led Clan Cello, and Devoda. He managed to also get overthrown by the current ruler, Lexius. And now I'm really oversimplifying what happened here. There's a lot that happened. I just like glossed over a solid like 3 months of roleplay is what happened. Lexius took over of Clan Cello and Devoda. Lexius is an interesting character. He used to be a serf. He was an orphan serf who was taken in by the Tepesix and became a member of Clan Cello. And so he sympathized with the serfs. Silvera never released their serfs. So this is what happened next, which I already like briefly said. Silvera had 2 legions here. And in the dead of night, Lexius joined his troops and launched an attack here and there. At the same time, he sponsored serf uprisings here, 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 and here. And so overnight, Silvera collapsed and became part of Devoda. Here, I did not put anything on like proper layers. That's very unfortunate. So next thing you know, Devoda controls all of this. They killed they killed Silvera. Silvera is this New Ontario, and then you still have Astera controlling these parts. There were brief skirmishes from this part on. Silvera L. Is that even text on the map? Yeah. So, that's the situation now. And so, what happened during this is I'll give a brief overview of the skirmishes that actually did happen during this. So you had... Yeah, there's Devoda. There's Ontario. And we have Astera. Astera tries to launch an attack for Serva. Ontario at the same time launches attack for Serva as well. Devoda's legions fight them to a standstill, and then Devoda launches an assault for Domas. Domas is a very important city. It controls the entrance of the Divinus River. This is one quick takeover. Rip Silvera. Yeah, Silvera did not last long at all. So Devoda launched a huge attack for Domas. And then Domas managed to set up a defense and send in reinforcements to try and force Devoda out. And so they're kind of entrenched here. Astera itself was having trouble making any breakthroughs. Devoda is basically, like, dabbing on them at this point. That's when Devoda launches a new assault. Devoda launches an all-out attack by crossing Ontario's border and heading down into Serva. At the same time, they launch an attack onto the fort to try and gain initiative. What happened next is kind of crazy. Ontario ruined this plan. New Ontario stopped Silvera's forces from re-entering their land. The reason why is they decided they wanted to try to make a deal with Devoda. This was their new gambit. Ontario switched sides. Ontario wanted to gain back control of Serva. In exchange, they would help Devoda take Stellis. And of course, from Stellis, Devoda has a pretty good shot of taking Astera as a whole. That didn't happen. All Ontaria do was alienate an ally. 10 out of 10. And so, it's a bit chaotic. So, by the way, so at this point, they're at a standstill, and they had to make a decision with new Eternia's help. The three leaders decide they're going to meet up in New Eternia and discuss a peace. I don't know why I got the wrong things. There we go. The precision of a hamster. So they meet up in New Eternia. They discuss a truce. And then the fighting stopped. And now they're stuck in these borders. So, it wasn't here for a long time, but a good time. I'm not sure Serva was the team you want to root for. They had serfs. Everyone else got rid of their serfs. By the way, great job investing in this wall. Just for, like, the next leader of Devoda to be like, alright, let's backstab our ally. So, side note, you might have noticed a change in the actual geography of Playesta. The geography of Playesta transformed due to a whole different scenario that was completely unrelated, but also related in a fact to where magic was restored to the area, healing the area from the Timber Wars. So the whole reason trees wouldn't grow in Playesta was the lasting scars from the Timber Wars. And so thanks to Marcus from the New Eternia Roy family, he was the Prince of Flames. That's a whole different side tangent we can get into later if you want. But thanks to that, magic restored to the area and trees finally returned to Playesta. They got their forest back. DLC dropped. It was poggers. It is kind of similar to that, Freeman. Why can't Mons be nice? Yeah. Magic equals trees. Mm-hmm. And so that's where Playesta is now. So, here's some new lore. You guys want to hear what's going to be happening in the 9 months from now in Exilium to the next season of the roleplay server? Which, by the way, for season 1 of the roleplay server next summer, June 2026, I will make like a proper announcement video when it comes, but I'm going to release a full trailer to the YouTube channel about that. So, you might have noticed a change of font colors here. This is Tristan. Bastion Point is Tristas. What happened next was insane. Phoenix invaded. Phoenix launched a 3-pronged invasion for Bastion Point and seized control of it. Now, for Trista, this is a horrible blow. This is an awful blow for Trista. Because, so Trista has a river, a ocean port. This is their path to another continent known as Tiberlane. This is how they leave the region. They also have another path that goes through the Kuon and heads north to a nation known as Helfin. Oh, to the region known as Helfin. But they're in a scenario here. EU4 Declaration Sound plays, so true. And so right now, Trista is in its first war. Trista's never been the war. Trista always thought the war they would have was against Playesta. This is the war they always imagined was going to happen. Was them versus Playesta. That's not what happened. So Trista was caught completely with his foot down. Now you might be wondering what Phoenix is up to. That's a great question. excellent question to who asked it. No one has asked it. But I'm gonna remove all this. Phoenix wants to take over these islands. They want to take Bastion Point because of this here. There is new unclaimed territory that was formed from the recreation of magic. With magics restored in all of Monsa, it healed this broken land here. Phoenix came across this with their own ships. Now, the issue of actually accessing it is these floating rocks around is acting like, shoot, what's the move called? What's that? Stealth rock. It's like these giant stealth rocks blocking any entry into the actual land. So, Phoenix needs a launching point to try to get into it. They also want to have more control of the sea around them. They want to build like a trading empire. I wouldn't hate Phoenix. Actually, never mind. I hate Phoenix. Tracy, you're kind of lacking. They really were. You messed a bit, DJ. Don't worry about it. So, Phoenix has seized control of Bastion Point. They did succeed on this, by the way. Trista has backed off for now. And for now, they have rerouted their path to go something like this. They're basically hugging this area with convoys acting as a defense. In the meantime, Trista is for the first time having to actually prepare itself for a war. This music's a little cheery for war. Let's fix the cheeriness here. I don't think we need let me yeah, sure, here we go. So Trista, yeah, they revealed themselves. By the way, at this point, Phoenix is unknown. Trista's never come across them because this was their path, right? And Plaesa doesn't have a navy. They don't have a blue water navy. So Phoenix has remained pretty much unknown until this point. And this is because there's a new king in charge of Phoenix. Phoenix has a new ruler with big ideas. He's a bit ambitious. And he wants to seize control of all the sea lanes around here. And is actually going to put him at odds with Devota here soon. And so this is what's about to happen. This is a crazy scenario. And it is actually something I've been writing and working on. Trista is going to team up with Devota to fight Phoenix. And so this has huge complications. Unknown to the world, unless you live in Exilium. So true. And so, this is massive implications for the world itself. This is the new, like, scenario brewing. So, in Monsa, there's been, like, a bunch of ages. We have had the, and let me pull it up so I can fact check myself. Let me pull out my notes. You know, never too late to be, like, too careful, you know? Here we are. So Monsa is split up in several ages. You have the... Here, I'll do orange because I like orange. Age of Creation. Followed by Age of Eternia. Followed by Age of Darkness. Maybe orange wasn't the play. But I'm sticking to my guns. I'll never let them know you're wrong. Always double down. Nothing but double down. Now this is where I've been changing up some of the name of the ages. So next, from the Age of Eternity to the Age of Darkness, you go into Age of Wars. Actually, I might rename that, honestly. I'm just gonna go with the original name. The Age of Ashes. That was the whole Timber Wars. Now, that led into the Age of Revolution, which is when New Ontario formed, Caravista formed, place to collapse. And so we are heading into a brand new age. The Age of Explorers. And now you might be wondering why this is going to be known as the Age of Explorers. The reason this is being known as the Age of Explorers is because all these conflicts are happening from exploration. There is new lands to explore. There are new continents that they are making connection with. They are Monsans for the first time are stepping in lands outside of Monsa. It's crazy. You have magic also being birthed around with the different covens like returning. And so it's like a massive shift in how everything is going. The age of lots of fighting. Always double down is my life motto. And so this is the scenario that's happening. It's kind of like, I'm kind of basing this off of like drawing back in the fall of Alexander's empire in Greece. There were a lot of Greek colonies that spread throughout North Africa. That's how you got Carthage. That's how you got Alexandria. That's how you got a lot of these Greek named cities in North Africa. It's also how you got Greek culture that influenced the Roman culture to get the classical Roman culture we know that our Western world grew from. It's how the Greeks' way of life spread across Persia and of course the Persian Empire established a lot of mechanical systems that Alexander the Great took over but then it was influenced with Greek culture. And so there was a lot of conflicts at this time because there's a lot of new cultures forming, a lot of new cultures clashing. And so this is the Age of Exploration. Phoenix is leaving their bubble for the first time. Trista is leaving Monsa for the first time. New Eternia is also have their own route to Helfin as well. They actually have two routes to they have their own route to Tiberlane that cuts through the Divinus. And so that is kind of like a lot of what's happening in Monsa in the modern age. So about Reliquessa and Clovius Cove. Fun fact. Okay, so Reliquessa. So when Caravista fell, Petrus was kind of seen as the main leader of Caravista. He fled to Reliquessa. What happened next was New Eternia found him. And so he made a deal. But he promised to release his slaves, completely reform this region, and willing to become a vassal under New Eternia. In exchange, that he is kept as the leader of this fledgling nation, and he's given amnesty. And he actually got it. The madman, the silver tongue. He got out of his crimes. What a legend. Clovius Cove. So we had Pirate Queen Clovia, the most notorious pirate of Caravista. she actually sided with the revolution. She helped the revolution and helped them gain control of the Kuon port and the Divinus port, and basically help contain the contain most of those who were escaping. Petrus had an escape plan, so he was able to get out. But almost every major Caravisan slaver got caught in this net. Bro rolled a nat 20. He really did. And as part of helping the revolution, a lot of the main revolutionaries that would storm and take over Caravista to form New Eternia was trained here. This was where they were trained. Clovia set up a little pirate colony, essentially, in these lands here. Helped train these soldiers. Brought these soldiers back to Caravista to then help with the revolution. So, New Eternia is technically the biggest nation. If you connect all their lands, they would technically be like that large. Reality, though, their territory more looks like that. That is more realistically what their territory looks like. Similar thing over here to Teresa. They obviously have a clear, defined control of this peninsula. But outside from that, it'll just kind of look like that. It's kind of like that. On paper, they technically claim all of this. But reality is, this is kind of what their territory is looking like. Yay for revolutionary pirates. I wonder if any of the new teams will make a new kingdom. I'm actually playing around with that. Yeah, sphere of influence versus actual hold. Thank you, Quicks. I was looking for the term sphere of influence. I'm actually thinking about making a new city-state. I want your thoughts on this. Specifically, this territory here. I'm thinking of making a new city-state here. And I think I want it to be related to Phoenix. I want there to be a bunch of Phoenix refugees, those who escape Phoenix, and settle around here. It's kind of an idea I'm playing around with. I'm not sure if I want to do that or not, but it's an idea I'm playing around with. I think it would be cool to make like an anti-Phoenix little state here. I think would be a lot of fun. I think this area has a lot of potential to be a fun little area for a city-state. And also, it kind of like gives Teresa a better competition too, land-wise. I wonder if Teresa would try to vassalize them. That's what I'm like. We're going into theoretical ideas right now, nothing that's like actual lore. But like, I'm wondering about this, and if Teresa like discovers them, it's like, oh, that's crazy, and like makes them a vassal, and which can help Teresa, theoretically, can help Teresa assert control on the Western Kuon. But I'm not sure they would do that. But also, what if New Eternia also tried to influence them? Imagine how much New Eternia has to gain from that. They can get their own southern port, right? I think that would be cool too. Nepia will want to lead an anti-Phoenix state. If Nepia can write me a solid speech in common, I might give her an honorary mention in the plaque. Influence war. Yeah, and then, of course, there's also the opportunity for one of the, either Astera or Devota. I don't really see New Ontario having a chance here. In fact, New Ontario's in a precarious situation because Devoto wants Domas, and they're kind of thinking about making. They want to make a deal with Astera, where Astera gets Serva in Ontario in exchange for Devoto getting Domas. That's kind of like the deal that Devoto wants to make. And by the way, New Ontario still wants Serva. They want Serva. They also want Fidus. These are like old lingering claims from the Timber War era, or the Age of Ashes. So yeah, the Timber War's legacy is still very strong here. Because the New Ontario is struggling. They have never been the same. Ontario hasn't been the same since the end of the Timber Wars. And they are continuing to struggle. They have rampant corruption. There's a lot of merchant guilds that kind of just run Ontario right now. They have not let that go. And also, they suffered a century of oppression under Pleiasta. Because remember, Pleiasta was from the winners of Planora and Astera. That's what formed the Pleiastid state. And they systematically destroyed Ontario's political power. This is the most political power they've had it since the end of the Timber Wars. Let them have it for the funny. So true. Like, this is what Ontario used to look like before the Timber Wars. They controlled all of this. And they claimed this. This is one of the main reasons for the Timber Wars. They wanted this area here around Fidus. But now this is they're kind of just reduced to this right now. Alright, they're not feeling too good. This is what they are now. And it's all Aurelia's fault. It really is Aurelia's fault. What a throw. By the way, to really give you an example of the destruction the Timber Wars had, I think I have the map on file. Let me see if I can find it. Nope, a little higher up. There it is. This is what the region looked like at the end of the Timber Wars. This is the end of the Timber Wars. This is what's left. This is all we got. Destiny Bond Remax. You know it. Actually, no, it's Mount Pyre from Pokemon Ruby. So, yeah, this is what was left of the whole region as a whole. It got obliterated. That's a lot of damage. I mean, to even bounce back to this a century later was impressive. I'm like, this is pretty much what they bounced back to. And only a century later, though, they've collapsed into 3 kingdoms again. So, like, classic. But hey, Caravista. Flex tape can't fix that. So true. It's so over. So, yeah, there's a whole bunch of new lore. Hey, also, Quicks, you got to see, like, what the fronts Mark probably fought on. I feel like I talk about Pleiasta the most, probably because they had the most happen to them. There's Exilium over there. It's kind of cold right there, right now. It's a little frosty. So, I don't know what you guys want to talk about now. I'll leave the door open because I can blabber about something for a while. I do have to go pretty soon though. I have a doctor's appointment in 1 hour. An hour and 5 minutes from now, actually. So I only have like a 30 minutes left. I still don't know what would be the reason he lost in height, though. I will wear 3 hoodies. You're more powerful than you know now. You're like a Sith Lord. As a Sith Lord gets more power the more hoodies they have. You know what? Quicks probably lost it to a javelin. You know what a javelin is? Libris? Oh, yeah. Okay. Libris is a small town that's begun to form in the aftermath of the revolution in Caravista. It is made up of mostly Mighty-Enas. It's a lot of ex-slave guards. So in Caravista, it was common to have guards, and it was common to have slaves that were made into guards themselves. They were still slaves. They were just a guard slave. And so a lot of these guards immigrated out here and formed their own community. I know there's another community forming around here. And funny enough, so you see this huge city, a lot of it is empty. And they're making plans to demolish a lot of these buildings to split up this massive, mostly empty city now to like 3 cities around here. But keep the road networks. The road networks would be kept. Because this city is massive and it's lost a lot of its population. This guard slaves, no other lore behind that. There is more lore behind it, but I think I'm going to save that for another time, because I'm going to go on forever. How many Joltics can destroy a local ecosystem? 1, specifically if his name is Vulcan. Marcus making trees. He's a tree hugger. He's a tree hugger. Weirdo. When you have a javelin. Yeah, only a tiny bit cold over there. Ignore the blizzard, it's only glow chilling. So true. What did Vulcan do? Don't worry about it. Don't worry. We had to cancel the PMD&D game. It went wild. It was crazy. It was crazy. No one could stop him. Can we get Exilium origin lore? Exilium originates from the Tepessic tribes. So, in the Tepessics, you can get exiled when you're dishonored. Why you're dishonored? It could be for committing a crime, breaking your clan's code, breaking the Tempestic code, or the Electron codes. And so a lot of these exiles made their way up north into the land of tundras. They settled along the coast around here and eventually formed Exilium. That's kind of the basic rundown of the history of Exilium. It is made up of ex-Tempestics. And as the word grew of the city of second chances, right? This is a city of second chances. People who are escaping the war from Plaista made the journey there. Some slaves who couldn't settle down in New Eternia made their way there. Some Tristans who wanted to start over or like lost everything made their way there. And so it's kind of like a fledgling community right now. But not germs. So true. Nepian, no, it's germs. I guess you could. I don't recommend eating a Joltik. Yeah, that's like the basic rundown of Exilium's origins. Exilium's only been around there for like, it's gonna be a decade next year. throws Ghost Child at Joltik. Guys. Is this a this is the pre-Timber Wars map. This is the OG scenario. Look how much more developed Ontario was. Look at them thrive. Surely they wouldn't throw it all away, right? No way they throw all this away, right? They would never throw. What ruins? I don't see any ruins. I don't know. I don't see anything. I don't know what you're on about. Okay, they did throw a lot away. Monsan fashion. So the Monsan fashion in modern day Monster right now is kind of loose. Most Pokemon don't wear clothes because it's quite uncomfortable with your fur, and usually just your fur would do it. But fun fact, in old Eternia, the fashion was always bright colors. The old Eternians, and this is the age of Eternia. Here, let me see if I can pull up the map for old Eternia. Those aren't the map. Do I have it? Does it exist? Let me go pull it up on Incarnate. Give me 1 second. But yeah, old Eternia's style was bright colors. So bright pink, orange, yellow, red, blue, and they liked fun patterns. They'll have like stripes, zigzags, polka dots, those sort of stuff. So that was the pretty common style. Stand by, chat, I'm exporting it. Stand by. Here we are. So this is what old Eternia looked like. They controlled it all. Let me just tell you. They had it all. They owned everything. A unified Monsa. Look at a unified Monsa, guys. Look at that. Look at it. This music is such a bop. It's hops and hip hops mix on Spotify. Look at them. They're unified. I'm so proud of them. Unified Monsa, fake news. It is possible, guys. It's possible. There was a unified Monsa. Guys, this Age of Peace was like a long time ago. This was like 1,000 years ago. We haven't had unified Monsa since. Well, if you're interested, Road K-Ban, in the description, there should be a link to join the Shinx Corner. In the Shinx Corner, we have a custom PMD&D system that you can play Dungeons and Dragons with. And there's also a Monsa expansion that offers Pokemon that are found in Monsa, along with Monsan lore, subclasses and origins, based around Monsan lore. It's a lot of fun. This is past. Yeah, this is way back then. This is a long time ago. I mean, we're making efforts. We're trying for sure. It's crazy to think this was Monsa at one point, and this was also Monsa at one point. I just know there's some crazy stuff here that happened, but I have no idea what happened there. Couldn't tell you. Like, look here, there's not even anything there. I think it's just a lie. I think this is big map telling us a big old lie. Is a paid actor? So true. Monster's been through a lot, man. It was fun to share it for a little bit on the roleplay server. But there's definitely some stuff to be figured out. So, fun fact, the way I like to tell stories is, and this is where a big issue happened with the experimental roleplay server in Monsa. I don't have a hard magic system. I have the Pillar of Magics, but I never had a need for a hard magic system. Some people like to have hard magic systems for their world to have clear, defined paths. But for me, I preferred having a soft magic system. And a soft magic system is basically the rules are kind of loose. And so it allows me more freedom to kind of write what I wanted. But, that is not very effective for a roleplay server. And I just didn't even think of it. It was just something I didn't even consider. Funnily enough. Because I was so used to having a soft magic system, it didn't cross my mind I would need to make a hard magic system for the server. That's where it led to a lot of problems. Like, an immense amount of issues. And so, that's something I'm gonna have to work on. That's one of the big things. They've seen some things. They truly have. A lot of arson. Even, do you have a fire hydrant for us? And so, yeah, and there was a lot of lore issues. No hard rules, but Mark still blew himself up. Yeah. So many lore breaks. So true. And so I want to give myself time to sort of iron out those issues. It does break down at the use of magic. Very situational, though. So true. This may come as a surprise. I would not give players the Eternal Flame alchemical tonic that causes the Great Burning. And so there's specifically the characters that do know magic in Exilium in the roleplay server. I'm gonna go one by one talking to. I'm gonna go one by one and talk to each of those characters and fix some stuff up. It's kind of the hope. No fire. No fire. Can I make the runic tunic? I don't... Sure, Ultra Lord. Go for it. Funnily enough, the main... What a moment. I love this song. I'm turning it up. Let's go. So, funny enough, Swirl, the whole reason the Infinite Flame was created by the Stellans... Here, let me go to pre-Timber Wars. The Stellans created the Eternal Flame as the idea to create infinite forges, to create infinite cooking, that it would be easier to make food, it would be easier to cook, it would take a lot less materials. That was the idea of the Eternal Flame. Lukia song, but Hoop and Hip Hop's remix. But so yeah, to also like help make food, to forge things better, it was an idea to be used as a resource. And then it got yoinked by Ontario. And then, well, you know what? It did cook. Let me tell you, it cooked. So, yeah, that was the whole idea of the Eternal Flame. Alright, we've been going on for a little bit. Last question. I'll do one more question, and then I need to go get ready for my doctor's appointment. I have a doctor's appointment to go to. No, not from the movie. Well, I mean, it is that song from the movie, but remixed. Yeah, those pharaohs had no chance. Those poor pharaohs. By the way, it really shows you how much deforestation these states actually did. Because here's the forest 1,000 years ago, and here's the forest 100 years ago. It was so jover. So, fun fact. Okay, last question. Golurks. Golurks is actually going to become a Pokemon in like an official Monsan Pokemon. So, by the way, the Exilium, the roleplay server Exilium is a separate sort of canon from like the main Monsan canon, which, and also the PMD&D is also a separate canon version of Monsa. There's 3 versions of Monsa. There's my normal version that I wrote original, the OG. There's the PMD&D variant, and then there's the Exilium variant. And so in the main Monsan lore, Golurk has been created. Golurk wasn't a naturally occurring Pokemon. It was created in a Caravesan experiment. Yeah, this would be the right map. It was created in a Caravesan experiment where they use alchemy along with runic magic to sort of create a body. And with the help of a ghost Pokemon, specifically a Litwick who can grab a soul or take a soul, put that soul into this mechanical creation and made a Pokemon. Well, Swirl, you guys are like, the roleplay server is more closely the OG version. I actually recently made the decision to separate the canons, though, so I can create a hard magic system for the roleplay server specifically. And then in the OG timeline of Monsa, I can keep the soft magic system for when I'm writing for fun or creating new lore and stuff. And so some of the stuff I create using a soft magic system will translate over. And the timeline between the 3 are very closely aligned, but with differences that I can't explain via lore because they're so artificially made. Like, for example, paladins in their oaths and in like the D&D classes have a lot of specific lore on how the classes work. I can't really work it in properly into the OG lore, as well as the and then, like I said, for roleplay server, I had to create the hard magic system. I decided to separate the canons to make that easier without overcomplicating it, because that was one of the biggest issues. Because originally the Exilium server was part of the main canon, but it was too chaotic. And so it would be easier to separate the canons to adjust things to be a more fun roleplay experience for a public roleplay server. Monster Across the Multiverse. Let's go! So that's the rationale of separating the roleplay server into its own canon. Okay, I should be getting ready for my doctor's appointment. I gotta get out of here. I gotta go. It was a short lore stream. Lore stream short edition. Vonosos will rise once more. No. Yep. Here, wait. I'm gonna choose a cool song to send you guys off on. I'm gonna send a cool song. Where cool song? Where is it? This is the anthem of Monsa. This is Monsa's anthem. All rise for Monsa's anthem.